What's going on, guys? It's Adam P, and welcome back to more Newcastle United transfer news. Today is the big day. Champions League format draw. Newcastle will find out which 8 different teams they will be playing in the Champions League for home and for away. I'm buzzing for this one. I've been waiting for it for a long time. 4 p.m. on the channel will be my live stream. There will be a link down in the pinned comment as well, so you guys can make sure that you got it saved. Whenever I start uploading them, you can just come and watch straight away. Any questions, ask me about the transfer stuff, and just tune in to see my live reaction and have a live stream, just going through everything regarding the Champions League, because I'm buzzing to see what potential teams you could get tonight. Of course, as always, if you're new around here, make sure you get down there, hit that subscribe button, join the journey, and join the 44% of you who are already watching my videos who are subscribed, so you don't miss out on the upcoming Newcastle United transfer news. Now, starting off in terms of incoming striker, still is the situation with Strand Larsen. 2 official bids. It was reported yesterday that a third bid at around £60 million will go in, but according to the likes of Craig Cook, that bid would be rejected. And now Osteen's put out further information today saying that Strand Larsen has politely spoken to the chairman and requested the Newcastle United move. Johan Wissa, Alexander Isak. Take notes, by the way. The player who has not kicked up a fuss has just went to Wolves and went, well, I would like to leave and join Newcastle this summer, if possible. Chairman effectively said, no, you're not going for any price. And that's the real concern for Newcastle now, because even if you were for potentially upwards of £70 million, they aren't budging. Wolves just don't want to sell him. They've already sold Cunha, they've already sold Fabio Silva yesterday, and it's now a case where unless Wolves gets a replacement in, which you're talking 4 days now, they're not going to budge, and they aren't going to sell him this transfer window. So we've effectively wasted, you're talking upwards of 4 days now, if there's going to be no real progression in his transfer, and all that time has been wasted on a striker who wants to be here, just like a Johan Wissa, he just wants to be here. But a club that's not budging, a club that's not going to sell him, and a club that's just going to go, you want to leave, tough, it's too late in the window. And that's Newcastle's real problem now, because what do you do and who do you go for next? If the message is this strong, and even with a third or even a fourth bid was to go in, if the message remains that strong, Newcastle needs to walk away. Newcastle hasn't got time to be able to continuously prod at Wolves and just try and prod Strand Larsen out of Wolves. You've got to either move on or put down serious money. I think Newcastle, to be fair to them, have put down serious money. You're talking £60 million on a guy that just spent £23 million on last month. They only just paid off the player last month, £23 million. And you're talking upwards of triple profit already, and that's not even enough to bring him in. So they clearly don't want to sell him. They clearly feel like selling Strand Larsen would be a recipe for relegation, which, to be fair to them, I think there's leverage to that. But on the player side of things, I think his wage is £22,000 a week. So even though Newcastle's a low wage structure and doesn't like to go too high, the money that Strand Larsen will be getting offered in Newcastle is so much more than what he would be on at Wolves. So for us, we've got a real good situation here, being able to entice the player, but there's no point of enticing the player if he's never ever going to be allowed to leave Wolves. So that's the situation Newcastle finds himself in. We'll have to see today whether this is going to change or whether Newcastle's going to go for a different player. You're talking emergency territory now, though. You haven't got too long left. You've got about 4 days. And if you don't sign a striker in 4 days, you might as well just go, hello, Jamie Vardy, and get him after the transfer window's closed. Because it's got to be a free agent if Newcastle does not sign a player this week. It's that simple. If we don't get a player in the active transfer market now, Newcastle will have to do an emergency sign and bring a guy like Jamie Vardy in on a free because he's a free agent. So we have to see what's going to happen. But I don't want to get to a stage where you have to even consider an emergency signing. But even going through this striker situation, I have to say, we had dodged a bullet on Benjamin Cesco. I can't believe how bad this guy has been for Manchester United so far. Now, I know going to Manchester United anyway is never the best move for a football player to make, but I don't feel this way towards Cunha and Bruno. Like, I really feel like Sesko himself is just, what's going on with him? I couldn't believe how bad he was against Grimsby Town yesterday. I was watching a live stream. I was, of course, covering the Carabao Cup draw. I just couldn't believe the way he was playing. He was just such a low confidence striker. And you're talking the literal 10th pen he's on. Mate, you are an £80 million striker who's just joined Manchester United. How are you on the 10th pen? The entire defence took a penalty against a League Two side before he did. I mean, that's ridiculous, by the way. I will be livid. I was a Manchester United fan looking at that. You are the actual striker, Cesco. You should be on number 1, 2, or 3 in that shootout. And the fact that he's on 10th just shows exactly everything that's going on. He's a low confidence striker who hasn't been able to kick on so far. And he's probably not going to kick on for a while because of the fact that Manchester United is just not the most progressive football club. They've got some good players in that team, but they're a rubbish team, judging by the fact that they couldn't even get past a League Two Grimsby Town side, which is a real cup upset yesterday. And to be honest, looking at the game itself, I think the bigger cup upset would have been Manchester United going through because they were the worst of the two teams by a country mile. So Grimsby Town winning is almost like the favourite winning because Manchester United were just that bad in the game. Looking at the situation, if Sesko was here now, Isak would be gone. Sesko in means that Isak would have been out. And I tell you what, I don't mind this at all, you know. I really don't mind Sesko not being here. I know he would have done better in Newcastle, but I've not quite seen a few opening games like that from a player. He just seems so off it so far. Now, obviously, I hope that the player does turn good eventually because it was a player Newcastle wanted, but what's going on with him? Massive bullet dodge. Seriously, a massive bullet dodge on him. Now, of course, current situation is that Alexander Isak will 100% stay. And currently that is the case. We haven't signed anyone. Doesn't look like we're going to sign anyone yet, and it could be a real potential chance of an emergency situation where you have to just go out and get someone. I'm telling you now, if Dominic Calvert-Lewin was not a Leeds, he'll be I think Dominic Calvert-Lewin at this stage in the window, I was told a couple of months back that he was a player on Newcastle United's transfer list in a dire situation. A situation where all of your other options that you high up the transfer list, if you missed out on them, Dominic Calvert-Lewin was on there. So Newcastle United is prepared to potentially get in just a striker just so it can play. And you know what? I can't believe I'm even suggesting this because his wage was mental at Leicester City. And Jamie Vardy, it's time to start kicking some corner flags at the Gallagher end because that's where we're going. That is where we're going. If we aren't getting a striker in the next couple of days, it'll be him coming in. It will be someone like Vardy coming in just to come and make sure we've got someone up front because that's the situation we're in. It is seriously desperate. Johan Wissa, I don't see happening currently. Big domino effect needs to happen. They need to sign a striker first. And it's the same case for Wolves. Wolves need to sign a striker. And it doesn't look like Wolves are going to sign a striker. It looks like Wolves are just content, just letting Strand Larsen sit in the club because they know Strand Larsen's a good player and they know the player's not going to kick up fuss as well. So even though the player would like to go to Newcastle, he's respectful and fair enough to help Wolves out because they're a team in a relegation battle. And I have to say, fair play to Strand Larsen. Obviously, he didn't benefit us as Newcastle, a player actually behaving like he's supposed to. But I have to say, after the summer of people misbehaving, to actually see a player behave and be fair towards the football club he is contracted to, fair play to Strand Larsen. You know, go smash at Wolves this season. But yeah, that's the real kicker for me today. I just don't think there's a way into this now for Newcastle. I think even £70 million, you're talking they might still knock that back. And I still question why Newcastle at the table though, because if it's this serious and it's this strong from Wolves to just go, well, we aren't going to sell a player at all. Why 3 bids and why here for now a 4th day? Newcastle spent 4 days on this in the back week of the transfer window. So why are we here? This is an impossible deal. There still has to be something in this. The player obviously wants to join, which I think is why Newcastle is there. But if there's still such a strong stance from Wolves, why have we pushed so hard in it? I'm intrigued to see what happens here because I'm still trying to figure out why Newcastle is still in this race because we still haven't signed a striker yet. It's not like we're bluffing just to keep Isak. We haven't even signed someone in. We still need to get one striker in. If you were to play the Isak bluffing, just pretend, oh, we're going to let you go, but we're not. Like, we haven't even signed one striker. We're playing as Callum Wilson. It's truly annoying. It's been a good window, but just such an infuriating window in the attacking front. If Newcastle had this striker sorted, it would have been, I would have said, a very good window, but it's now almost looking like a terrible window because of the striker situation, because Newcastle looks worse attacking wise than they did last season, which is truly astonishing before you even look into the Isak context of him refusing to play. So you got a situation where Newcastle signed a bunch of players, but are we actually better than we were last season? I think our team collectively is better, but our attack is way worse. So that's the real dire situation Newcastle's in. Champions League draw tonight. You're getting teams like Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, Barcelona, whoever it may be. We can't put the ball in the back of the net at the minute, so we have to just get that striker in, make sure it is done ASAP. Newcastle has about 2 days to actually properly plan out which striker I want to go in for. Last 2 days, you're throwing everything at it. Last 2 days, you are desperately throwing bids in. You are desperately rushing against the clock. Got about 48 hours now. Relax, look at the options out there, seriously look at a realistic sign we can bring in and then go for it. Because those last 2 days, it is going to be panic. It'd be panic station. You're looking at overpaying on players, which we didn't want to do this summer, but that looks like a real possibility now. So are we going back to you on Wissam putting 60 million down? I hope not, but again, I wouldn't rule it out at this stage. I think Newcastle really is getting desperate now, so it could potentially be just go back for Wissa. Unrealistic money, but you just got to throw just to get someone in. We'll see what happens, but appreciate you guys watching anyway. Live stream, of course, at 4 p.m. and then afterwards it'll be a second video once again, just going through everything and talk about the draw and talk about any upcoming transfer news. So appreciate you watching. Take care, and we will see you all later on today for the Champions League draw.